And then children. Probably going to wander around a bit. Let's put the microphone on. Be warned, the battery might go at some point, which could be a blessing. It might not. We'll find out in due course. So, what did you get for Christmas? What was the best Christmas present that you got?
Book token. Book token.
Book token. Got a book token.
Having the family together.
Oh, don't be so sloppy having the family together.
We live all over the place, don't we?
Absolutely. Anyone else willing to say that their best Christmas present was? Perfume. You don't need perfume. Okay, so what was your worst Christmas present? Can you say without offending someone? Bear in mind, we've got we're being streamed live, so they could be watching.
Some technical thing that will show photos. But
You
you
can
have
tell
to
it's you, some technical thing.
that shows photos, but you have to plug it in.
A digital photo frame.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Yeah,
That's the thing.
oh, that's the thing.
Yes, something digital. Okay. So I'll share with you. I was finding who was the worst person to buy a present for as well. Worst, not in the sense of horrible, but the most difficult one to choose. There's always someone you don't know what to buy. I'll tell you now. If anyone buys me socks, slippers, or Old Spice, I'll shoot them. That's what we used to get me dad, because we couldn't think of anything else. So just to warn you on that one. Always difficult to know what to buy somebody. And so the wise men came and they brought their gifts, gold, frankincense and myrrh. People bought me food and drink, wine, whiskey, gin, and various types of food, which was lovely. I never know what to buy, so I bought people food and drink as well. It's always safe. But I did get some other things as well. I got this for a start. Pilgrimage memories, photos from some of the pilgrimages that we've been on.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yes. There's one from the Dead Sea. Thanks for showing that one. Yes, that one. Well, there's pictures from Holy Man, Spain, Assisi, Subiaco, and even from a holiday I had in Poland. So all sorts of pictures there. So it's a book of memories, so that's lovely. Another one I got, there were 5 in the thing, is this. It took me a while, I think I've worked out what it's for, or what they are for.
What do you
No, just freeze. So what I think what it's for is you put water in there, put it in a plant pot, and it keeps your plants thin. So if it's not, if you're watching, if you can tell me what it is for, that would be great for me to see. That's what I'm guessing it's for. Did take a little bit of working out. Another thing I got. There's 5 in here. Pencils. But not just any old pencil. It's got a dissolvable end. So when it gets too short, you have to shove it in a plant pot and seeds grow. There are seeds in the bottom.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's called Plant Your Pencil, a Happy Bee edition. So all sorts of things for bees. You have to water the saucer at the bottom, and within 1 to 4 weeks, plants will sprout. So I better be careful not to suck the end of my pencil. Otherwise I won't be flossing my teeth, I'll be weeding them. So there we go. So that was some of the presents that I got. But what do we do if we've got presents that we don't like? Luckily, all the presents I've got I can use or I like, and I will keep or eat or drink them all in due time. But what happens when we've got a present we don't like? What can you do with them then?
Take it to a charity shop.
There's truistic thinking there. Take it to a charity shop. They'll always hopefully receive it. If you've got the receipt, take it back to the shop, get the money. These days, of course, you can put it on eBay, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, and any other online platforms are available to use and sell them. Just make sure the person who gave it to you isn't on the same thing. You can re-gift it. Wrap it up and give it to someone else. Just don't give it back to the person who gave it you by mistake. And if you're being really good, then you'll be honest and say what it is that you're giving, that it's a gift that I can't use. So you can re-gift it, give it to a charity shop, sell it, take it back to the shop. You could save it up depending what it is, and then in due time bring it here as a tombola or raffle prize. There we go, or we'll sell it in one of the fairs. Just make sure the person who gave it to you isn't going to be offended. I do have to confess, in my other parish, before coming here many years ago, I used to be given all sorts of weird things which were of no use whatsoever, but my friend lived in the neighbouring parish and we used to swap them and put them in our church fairs, and no one ever knew. I can't do that here, so it doesn't happen here at all. But it doesn't need to either, just for the avoidance of doubt. Or you can bin it or put it in a cupboard and forget about it. And no doubt around this country there are thousands of presents that have already been put to one side and forgotten. Usually with children, piles of presents under the tree, they only want 2 or 3. The rest will never be touched again, never used again, never loved. They'll be put away, they'll clutter the house for years to come, until you end up on a TV programme clearing the house of all the junk. So all sorts of things, but presents that we don't want are easily forgotten, put away and forgotten. So what then do we think of the presents that the wise men brought? Of course, there's the old joke, isn't there? You can tell they were men, because if they were women, they'd have brought nappies, dummies and a crown, or something similar. So what did these wise men bring to the child Jesus? Gold, frankincense and myrrh. Everything a toddler could possibly need. But of course, as we've just sung in our hymn, they have other meaning. We heard them, 2 of them, gold and frankincense, mentioned in the Old Testament reading. And they're mentioned in the Psalms and in other parts of the Old Testament as symbols of the coming Messiah and the joy of God's people Israel. Gold, representing kingship. Frankincense of priesthood and worship. And myrrh, that we've just sung, get my tenses right, just sung, representing sacrifice and the death of Christ. And we'll hear at the end of the Gospels how the body of Jesus, when it's taken down from the cross, is wrapped with spices and herbs and myrrh in linen cloths and laid in the tomb. But also in the Old Testament, myrrh represents celebration, festivity and joy. It can be not just a symbol of the sacrifice of Christ, but also the joy of the salvation that he comes to bring. And in a few weeks' time, we will celebrate Candlemas, that bittersweet festival, the end of the Christmas season, when we turn from the crib and we physically turn to the cross, turn away from Christmas and Epiphany and face Lent and Holy Week. And myrrh representing the joy of salvation, but also the suffering that is needed for that salvation to be given to us. And so, as we heard in that Gospel reading, the wise men come. They open their treasure chests, and from them they offer gold, frankincense and myrrh. We're not told how much, but these gifts are offered to the infant Jesus. But what can he do with them? He's not going to play with them, and he might, depending what form it took. But what else is the child going to do with them? Well, we heard a couple of days after Christmas, in our Thursday Eucharist, the slaughter of the innocents. But at the end of this passage, we were told the wise men returned home by another way. Herod, when he discovered he'd been fooled by them, then resolves to get rid of the threat of the child king. And so he sends and has every boy child under the age of 2 slaughtered in the city of Bethlehem. But the Holy Family have already gone. Joseph, being warned in a dream, has taken Mary and Jesus and they've gone into Egypt. They've become refugees. And no doubt these gifts of gold, frankincense and myrrh would have become extremely useful, for they could be sold to provide income for the family. Joseph no doubt would find some work somewhere to keep them, and then later on, when Herod is dead, they'll return back to Nazareth. They've been migrants, refugees. They've been staying in Bethlehem for up to 2 years by now, away from their home. They're now moving as a refugee, and perhaps our remembrance of that will inform the way that we think of refugees and migrants in the world today. Whatever you do to the least of one of these, you do to me, says Jesus, who himself was a migrant and a refugee. How does that change our perception of a global issue to which there's no easy answer? But the way we think about it must be informed by the experience, no doubt, of Christ. Even the presents we think are of no use may eventually become useful to us. And even if we sell them, the money used for something good, they can be given to charity, they can be used to make someone else happy, or they can provide the funds we need in our own lives. What might seem useless can in fact be extremely useful, and those things that might be put away and forgotten can be used in other ways. We know the Holy Family didn't forget the gifts. Matthew wouldn't be able to write about them if they had, but instead they were remembered because they became useful in some way. As we give thanks for the gifts we've received and hopefully given, so too we should give thanks if there were gifts that we really wanted, and we can thank the people who gave them for knowing us so well. If they weren't what we wanted and can't use, we still give thanks that we've been thought of and remembered. And even if they seem useless to us, they can have a purpose in an unexpected and another way, to help other people, to help ourselves, or to help those in need. As we celebrate the coming of the wise men, we celebrate the gifts of love that we receive, the gifts of love that we can give, and the gift that we can offer Jesus Christ, which is ourselves. We sang it at Christmas, the Christmas carol in the bleak midwinter. What I can, I give him, give my heart. Amen.